That's what I used to tell folks, mom and dad got married at 8. And I want to take it away. You know, I get the days, it's like I'm 6 or something, I got married, and I was born in. But I wouldn't tell which year. Yeah, we have we were married in September, I saw a 4th of September.
Not sure. My parents got married on August 22nd, and I was born on August 1st, and it was 3 years later.
Really? Mom was she said, Daddy, I was being born by the example. You're dead.
I don't think so.
Yeah, should have been a show right there, y'all. She was quick.
She spent so much time in college.
Yeah. Construction with today was 4.
What you up to, Mike?
Look, we're not micing that after you.
I know, man, barely up.
There will be too much.
I figured it was a busy day for you.
There's several things I need to call you on.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'm gonna talk about
I appreciate you. I don't know if I like this, but I feel I like the name. I'm grateful.
I really don't know. Yeah, that rooster on the box.
Neither one of us.
We wanted to meetings on
What they've done to Madison Street. We're gonna go through the list. I mean, George, it's a little bit different deal too. It's not, it's not APS. Those are actually running OGI. 2 inches of OGI, 1 inch shot.
the key to it is Johnson Bridge Road, 30 years old, it's been redone 4 times, 3 times, because the base don't ever like.
Oh, yeah.
They go there, they dug out all the salt. I feel a little bit like y'all crush run and, everything in there, all the places is bad crack, they build all those up. And I'm talking about from
Our roads are, we're having such a.
Monday to Friday, it's done. Hopefully it likes that talk.
We've been very, very fortunate. Christina saw with her own eyes too. I mean, you know, you go down 3/4 of an inch and you would reclaim. And there's just nothing there. But it worked when it did. I don't talk to anybody because they achieved the ultimate goal they had and everything. It's hurting us. They're doing a good job. Chris is almost in the office every day with updates.
He actually been on that.
He stays with us. I seen, Mr. One, I seen Rodney a lot. They ain't looked that good since they put it down the first time.
But it's just encouraging to see that. I feel like we got a job there that will last long time.
It's definitely going in the right direction. I'd like to welcome everybody to the Madison County Board of Commissioners regular business meeting agenda for June 30th, 2025 at 6 p.m. We'll call this meeting to order. Please stand for the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Just for the record, Commissioner Kirk Cobb wasn't feeling well. We told him absolutely no problem, go home and take care of yourself. So anyway, we'll continue without Commissioner Kirk. Gentlemen, you have a copy of the minutes for May 19th, 2025 regular business meeting, minutes from the June 2nd, 2025 agenda setting work session, minutes from the June 12th, 2025 special call meeting. Please take a moment to look over those. If you see no discrepancies, please let us, or if you do, let us know, please. If not, I'll entertain a motion.
And the minutes be approved as presented.
Motion by Commissioner Chandler, second by Commissioner Adams. Any discussion, gentlemen? Hearing none. Mr. Adams?
Yes.
Yes.
Business involving guest groups, multiple visitors. Madison County Family Connection, Ms. Sherry Deacon. Oh, there you go. Except, I knew you were there a minute ago. Come on up, young lady.
Hey, how are y'all? Good, how are you? Good. I appreciate the opportunity to come and just share with y'all a little bit about MAR and Madison County Family Connection. I know Chairman Higdon had given me an invite, so got a quick little overview along with my contact information here. So I'll ever need to reach out to me. And thank y'all for your service. It can't be easy. All right, so are any of y'all already familiar with the statewide collaborative network of Family Connection? I see a little head shake in there. Okay, okay. All right, well, I want to make sure that y'all are aware, fully aware of it, because whenever I first started my role 3.5 years ago, I had the opportunity to chat with Chairman Higdon, just right outside there. Y'all helped us with getting a filing cabinet for our office, so appreciate that. But he had shared with me that he really didn't know what we did, and so I wanted to make sure that was not the case countywide, because I figured if Chairman Higdon didn't know, then probably the rest of the county wasn't aware either. So I just wanted to take a few minutes. So we are part, if you look at the first page in your handout here, you can see that we are part of a statewide network that was created by Governor Zell Miller in 1991. This was created after he noticed from reading the National Kid Count data, the inaugural Kid Count data, that Georgia was almost dead last in the nation for the children's well-being. We were ranked 48th. So in an effort to try and get that rating bumped up, he brought this collaborative network together in 1991. So MART was actually in existence prior to that. Y'all know Miss Bobby Rucker. I know she's left a lasting impression here in Madison County. She was actually one of the founding members of MART. And she started that in 1991, and then MART joined the Family Connection Collaborative Network in 2000. Anyway, so you can see that every county in Georgia has representation by Family Connection. So there's this collaborative in every county. And of course, our goal is to work on creating better outcomes for children, families, and the community as a whole. So what does that look like on the local level? So every month, there is a group of us that meet. There's 60 of us in total, but we average about 30 folks at each meeting. But we meet each month at the library. Some of our members include Riverside, the pastor from Riverside Baptist Church, pastor from Gordon's Chapel Methodist Church. We have a couple of folks that work for Project Safe, which is a domestic violence center. We've got MedLink, Madison County School District, Madison County Library. So you can see it's kind of a conglomeration of different folks. But again, we meet and we work towards, again, helping to create better outcomes for children, youth, and families and communities as a whole. So if you look down at the next section, the leadership. So MART is governed by a board of directors that is elected from the collaborative group. Ashley, Ms. Cohen went back here. She served on our board for a couple of years. So we were thankful to have her as part of the collaborative. So the board of directors oversees the operations of the collaborative and my position as well. So it does get kind of complicated trying to tell my daughter that, that I have all these bosses. So, but we also receive a grant from the statewide collaborative as well, and that is managed by the Madison County Board of Education also. So we're very thankful for that partnership as well. So just some current initiatives. And these are actually developed annually whenever the collaborative meets to review the kids count data that I referenced earlier. Again, that national data that gives an overview of child well-being. So that information is reviewed annually, and Chairman Higdon actually joined us for this year's meeting. So we look at that data as well as local data to determine our initiatives. And so just our current initiatives include, and I know y'all can read, but we're trying to help reduce the impact and prevention of ACEs. And y'all know what ACEs are? Okay. So they are adverse childhood experiences, and they actually came to be through a joint study from the CDC and the Kaiser Permanente Foundation. That was done in the 90s. So some examples of adverse childhood experiences include divorce, loss of a parent or loved one, there's different things that it can affect children. So we're trying to reduce the impact on children and families. And then we also increase positive use behaviors and then decrease the effects of substance misuse. So how do we make this happen? So our collaborative partners are made up of different action teams. There's usually about 5 of us that meet, and we usually are planning some type of event or coordinating classes or some type of training. So your first one is the parenting support. This is over our back to school rally, which I know that's probably one of the biggest things that we do on an annual basis. And then also they help to facilitate the parenting classes that we help to host. Poverty work group is something kind of new that we're launching into. I don't know how many of y'all have ever done a poverty simulation, but that's something we partnered with on the chamber a couple of years ago, again, just to bring awareness. So that is something that we're hoping to do again. And then just to kind of take a look at the sources of poverty and develop some solutions to them as well. And then our substance misuse group, So I don't know if y'all, I know Chairman Higdon, you attended the community listening session back in May, where we looked at substance misuse and mental health, just trying to come up with some solutions, to hear what the issues are, and then try and come up with some solutions. And then our youth development group. So this is just kind of a brief overview of MARC. But if you look at the second page in your handout, just kind of wanted to share with you our community impact over the past year. In 2024, again, the back to school rally, we provided backpacks and school supplies to over, to 619 low-income students, pre-K through 12th graders in Madison County. And so that, and it was actually our 20th annual rally that we did. So, and then our teen block party is actually something that was modeled after Jackson County's block party. We cleverly disguised it as a party, but it's actually a resource fair. So as you can see, 180, we had 180 9th to 12th grade students that attended last year. And then of the 10% that did the survey, 100% of them said that they planned on using the resources that they found out about during the block party. And then just get down to the community trainings. I know that Ms. Alita, she's also from the library, the branch manager from the library, she's also on our board. And we partnered with her to provide some joint trainings. A couple of them were suicide prevention training, where we brought in Nietzsche Space, and they provided training to some of our partners, and then also some community members. And then we also partnered with the Northeast Georgia Public Health District, and we brought in somebody that provided Narcan training, and we provided Narcan and Naxalon was distributed also. And then the student trauma bags, again, I mentioned that impact of, we're trying to reduce that impact of ACEs. And so one of our big partners with this is the Resilient Northeast Georgia. They're affiliated with the Athens Community Foundation. They provide us with funding to bring trauma awareness to the community. And so I'd like to kind of end with this particular example. It's just an example of how we do collaborate in the community. So Tara Thomas, the back to school, the wraparound, mental health wraparound coordinator, she had heard about another county in our region, the school district, where they provided handmade blankets to students that had lost a loved one. So that's something we decided that we wanted to bring here. So we used the funds to purchase the supplies, and then Trinity Stitchers, Trinity Baptist Church, they made the blankets for us. And and then there were trauma kits that were created that were given to all the schools so the counselors could distribute those. So, it is something that we are wanting to expand, and like tonight's presentation is just an example of how we're trying to get the word out about MARC and Madison County Family Connection and what we do. I also included a resource guide as well. This was included in a couple editions of the Madison County Journal, the newspaper, their annual publication, their magazine publication was included in that. So, so my ask for you all tonight, I'm not here to ask for money, okay? But I just want y'all to just to be able to share with, folks in the community, if somebody asks you about MARC or Family Connections, that you would be able to just to share a little bit of knowledge about who we are. And then we do have our monthly meeting that I mentioned earlier. Y'all are certainly welcome to join us for that, or if there is an action team that you guys were interested in, certainly you can join us for that as well. So, anyways, this is my first meeting. So I appreciate y'all having me. Did y'all have any questions or concerns?
First off, thank you very much for coming, and we really appreciate you giving us, the high graph overview of this. I do think it's important. I'm glad you really provided this list right here. We can put it on our board up there. We get a lot of calls. We rack our brains about trying to figure out how to answer that call. But having these contacts right here is really good for us. But thank you for what you do. I see you at a lot of meetings. I see you at chamber events. I see you all over. Even at the Danielsville thing here the other night at the church deal down here. That had to do with drug-related situations. But yeah, you always seem to be in the spot to be giving and helpful. So we really appreciate that part. Thank you so much. Do you have any questions?
On the list, if an organization wanted to share with y'all that they provide some of these and just get in touch with y'all vet them, how does that work?
Well, most of these folks are, well, not all of them, but some of them are partners or, folks that I've made contacts with in the community. But certainly if you have someone else that we can include, we're always looking for more resources.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Have a great evening, and we appreciate you. Split copy of that and stuff. Moving on to Chairman's report. A lot of positive stuff's going on. We're really proud of that. I wanted to mention something I read in the Madison County Journal just recently. She was recognized, Miss Nell Gant Brown. If you don't know her, she's a remarkable individual. And I was really glad to see that write-up. I think you may have been the one that done that. Announced during the June 23rd Commerce City Council meeting that she announced that over 200 people were served with free plates of food at this month's Sharing and Caring community meal. The monthly free meals are held on the third Saturday of the month at the Comer Community Center. Also distributed free produce along with clothes from the community clothes closet. But Miss Nell worked really hard at putting this together. She's got an amazing team of people around her to be able to serve 200 people. That's a lot of hard work. But anyway, I just want to give her a shout out for doing such a good job for the community. We are very thankful for that. A couple things I want to, for reminder purposes for the public. First off, I want to say special thank you, hats off to the volunteer fire departments and the 911 operators, the road department and the sheriff's department over the recent storms we've had. It's remarkable to hear how almost choreographed that the 911 operators fields 200 calls in 45 minutes. It's just amazing to see how flawless that goes. And we don't get to say thank you enough to them because, they're behind the scenes doing not just their job, but a really good job. But a reminder in that during those storm times to the public is please stay off the roads when we've announced storms is coming. Downed trees are not to be messed with by the public. The ones the other night, we probably had 20 or 30 down a couple Saturdays ago, and I would tell you out of that, 95% of them was in power lines. They ain't falling just in the woods. One's crossing the road, is hitting the utilities somewhere. The one last weekend, not this past weekend, sorry, weekend before last, on Sunday night, the one on Crawford W. Long. One line was down on the road, but the other line was still hot. Had somebody got out and not been paying attention, they could have got killed. So wait on the fire department to get there. Call it in. Turn your flashers on. Turn sideways, save somebody's life, but do not approach those trees, please. There's trained personnel for that. So, but we appreciate the calls, but don't go joy looking. because you may get killed, and we don't want that to happen. So, I'll save the rest of this list till I get down to the road updates, and I'll just move on to statements and remarks from citizens on tonight's agenda. Anyone? All right. Old business. Consider approving amendments to the Madison County Code of Ordinance, Section 2-247, Section 2-2473, and Section 2-248A. Mike, you have worked with a team of people to come up with this.
Yes, sir, and this is really just, well, I think Christina identified the sections of the ordinance that were affected by the increase in the threshold for public works construction from 100,000 to 250, and so this is the resolution to reflect that in the purchase policy.
All right.
This just reflects basically what the state agreed to
Yes,
last
sir.
year. What it was not this legislative session, but last year's legislative session.
No, it didn't pass in last, the governor vetoed it last year, and it was reintroduced, and then he signed it this year.
Okay.
So this actually takes effect tomorrow, July 1st.
Another thing that was changed, item 3, the legal notices, they changed, legal notices ran into paper versus not ran into paper, and how that process was updated as well.
Thank you, I forgot about that. Yeah, that was something that was in the policy that actually is not required, that the law allows it to be just on the website, so that's easier.
Well, thank you too, Christina, for all this. We really appreciate it. All right, gentlemen, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion these minutes be approved as presented.
Have a motion by Commissioner Chandler.
So,
I couldn't, which one was it? I think it said Commissioner Adams. Any discussion on this item?
Yeah, I realize it reflects the state code, I guess your question, or just a reminder maybe to help me. I was just thinking about, we're talking about the method or the methodology here on the right. I realize everything kind of has to end in a purchase order, but don't we have some other thresholds that have to come before this board for action prior to?
Yes, so what we're changing is the 250,000 threshold. So where it used to be 100,000 was chairman's approval, now that has moved to 250.
But you guys normally see everything even below it. We just keep everybody in the loop, but.
So anything that's road work specific that's over 250 comes before the board, and that's where you go through a sealed bid process.
Is the chairman's spending authority in these sections that are in the resolution, or is it in a different section?
I think it's in a different section. I don't think it's under section 247 for the chairman. This is a whole different section.
So that one's not being updated.
So maybe that's kind of what I'm thinking.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
I understand the state law, and I do road work, and I do other projects, so I understand the need to kind of make some move there, but I'm just trying to make sure that we're not caught off guard and from a budgetary standpoint or a surprise. Because like number 2 there just talks about, if we, and I'm not saying staff would do it, I'm just making an example. Next thing you know, we got $150,000 2 quotes and somebody's wanting the PO, and we're not aware of what's going on. So maybe we, if that's in another area, then I'm fine. I just want to try to make sure that collaborative efforts there.
All right. Any other statements? Hearing none. Commissioner Chandler?
yes.
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 All right, thank you. Under new business, consider approving the indigent defense agreement among Circuit Public Defender's Office of Northern Judicial Circuit and governing bodies. Whew, this has been something else too. Ain't it, Mike?
Well, I haven't, I just passed it along to you, so if y'all had the discussions, it's all been you.
It's a decrease from last year.
It is.
Mm-hmm. Not by much, but it is a decrease. That's their math, not mine, so.
Over the next 12 to 18 months, I expect a lot of changes coming out of the court system, which one you just saw. on the last ballot, not much recent one before prior, about increasing the pay for, public defenders. We're going to end up seeing situations coming at us. Currently, Elbert County is handling the financials for the DA's office. They're ready to get shed of that. They're asking counties to go back to the way it used to be. I think it transferred every 2 years. Somehow,
Yeah,
it
it
got
would,
stuck in Elberton.
I don't know if there was a set period, but yeah, it got rotated around.
But, they're already asking, who wants it now? And everybody's like, nobody. So I've asked those, in charge of those counties in that particular department to go out and look for a privatized company to handle theirs. Cause it's just not good business, because there's an auditing process. Not placing blame on any county, anywhere in the state of Georgia, but if their documents ain't done, that particular county's audit is held up. And anyway, so it's coming across the state. So. just be
Attachment A at the back is where the dollar figures and population percentages are. That's how they explain the calculations. They break out payroll, office expenses, et cetera. The third page from the back.
Gentlemen, any questions? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Doster, second by Commissioner May. Any other discussion, gentlemen?
Christine, you noted there was a decrease. Do you remember what that value was?
Yep, last year it was $144,094, and then in 2023 it was $135,070.
A little bit.
And it's not because the office's budget went down, it's because caseloads shifted and other counties picked up more.
We are in a unique
They had a pretty
situation.
big increase in their budget.
What's that?
They had a pretty big increase in their budget,
Yeah.
yearly increase.
5 counties make up our judicial system, and right now Madison County and Franklin County bear the blunt of the majority of those budgets. And it's based off caseload. And it's if any given year that caseload changes, luckily ours just came down, or counties just went up, stuff like that. But anyway, every year it's a negotiation.
Well, our district too, I think it'd be safe to say we are in the middle of about a 5-year transitional period. The senior judges are gonna be retiring and new judges come on, and it's gonna change the number of cases we see. There are gonna be fewer deferred cases, and at some point, we're gonna have to address the situation, and we're gonna have to have another courtroom here. So it might be cheaper this year, but in the long run, it's not gonna be cheaper.
Yeah, that's cool. I'll entertain a motion, gentlemen. I got it, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's on you.
Yes.
Yes.
I wrote it down here on the spot, thank you. Consider awarding the sealed bid 2505 for the Sanford Water Loop Project. Christina, I'll give them the update. I know we've got a letter of recommendation.
Yep,
Spoken
so
with Rodney.
we held a sealed bid on June the 5th. We received 6 sealed bids. They were not close in numbers that were sent in. The water superintendent and the engineer of record reviewed all the bids. And you have a letter of recommendation that they both agree on to award a company called A Vintage Soul LLC. They did do some reference checks and confirmed their licensing number. They are listed as approved utility contractors for Gwinnett County. The engineer also stated that he reviewed their statement of equipment and state qualifications and believe that their company is very capable of doing this work. And they were also the lowest bidder.
Which we will have men on site for spot check inspections.
So this quote is for labor only, and then after, so what you have the sealed bid tabulation, you have the engineer of record recommendation letter, you have 3 pages or 4 pages of a sealed bid from a vintage sold company that has their quote on there. And then I put in a letter here for the materials. Rodney also received 3 quotes for all of the materials for this project, and core and main was the cheapest. So in this vote, we're asking for you to award a vintage sole and approve $426,935 just for materials. I also included that core and main quote for the material, as well as the agreement with the Rose Development. So this project is fully funded by the Rose Development. So once the board approves the contract with a construction company and approves the material costs, we'll invoice the Rose, and they'll pay us. They have in this agreement, they have a time frame that they have to send that money to the courthouse. Once that project's completed, if we run over budget, they're invoiced for the overage, or if we come in under budget, they are refunded their money.
But they're required to pay up front.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Up front.
Yes. Yep. We can't start work until we receive money. I think it's within, they have 30 days, and we have 15 days from the time we received it to start. There's some timelines in this agreement. I just don't remember exactly what those days are.
Because the work will actually be done for us.
Yes.
Not for them.
No, we'll contract.
Okay. Just a question here, is the agreement between the IDA or with the county?
It's with the county. The original agreement was with the IDA, and that's when the IDA, the water department was housed under the IDA. Yeah.
So, this won't be the contract that's signed?
No.
But John Phillips did the contract, right?
Yes, he had to send it to me, but when he is involved in the sealed bid process, he normally sends me a contract
I thought so, just
for
making sure.
yeah.
Just looking at the Rose agreement, it actually says that they would pay the total estimated cost in 15 days.
Yes.
You might want to make, if you're going to approve this tonight, are you going to approve the contract tonight?
No, because my assumption, we've done this before where when the board does an award, it thought that they're also approving to enter into a contract.
Okay.
But I can put the contract on the agenda for next Monday.
Well, I mean,
This is just a bid award portion. We'll do the contract award later.
well,
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Are you
do it
talking
all
about,
the time.
are you talking about a contract with a vintage soul or a contract with a Rose?
Contract with Vintage Soul.
Yes. That, my assumption is if you're gonna award them, you're awarding them for this dollar figure, and then I'm gonna move forward and process in a contract.
And if it does not or does require board approval for the contract itself.
I assume that this is approving an award and a contract in one vote.
Okay.
Because sometimes that's how they'll word it, is they'll approve a contract.
Is John's contract form all in the bid document?
I don't remember.
Is that how you normally do it? You already have the contract in it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can put it on next Monday's agenda.
That might be better.
Yep. I think that would be appropriate, because then we would approve all 3 steps at one time.
Yeah.
So the Rose contract, which is the primary deal, and if they don't sign, then the rest of it's a moot point. Then the Vintage Soul contract, and then because of the dollar amount, the purchase order to Core Main, because it still exceeds the $250,000 that we just voted on.
Yeah, that was the other reason I was asking the question, is that if you don't have the money deposited by the Rose by next week, the motion to approve the contract you might want to make it contingent on receipt.
That's right.
Contingent on receipt of those funds.
Because if we award a contract and don't get any money, we're still starting a clock that we can't pay for.
Exactly.
It'd probably be better if Mike gets the verbiage to John. If you want to just call John and say, this is what you need to put in it as far as your time frame goes.
No, yeah, the IDA contract with the roads is done.
Yeah, the timeframe is 10 months from their deposit of the funds.
Correct.
So that's why we need to really have the money before that clock starts ticking,
We
or before the contract's awarded.
may want to evaluate that just a little bit, because I understand that there's some road work related to the Sanford Road that's through some thing with the state.
Yeah.
This needs to be done prior to that.
That's gonna be done before that ever lands.
Yeah, well, we don't want to say it's 10 months, and then in August, we've got 6 months to do a contract.
Yeah, well, the part you're talking about, it don't even let till then.
It's not till August.
Yeah.
But they'll be off their state working, and so they'll be close to being done.
Well, I'll make a motion that we table till, or postpone the action until our next meeting.
All right.
Give staff and appropriate parties, consultants, whatnot,
I'll call John.
counselor to coordinate appropriately.
So,
I have a motion by Commissioner Dawson, second by Commissioner Adams. Any other discussion, gentlemen? Hearing none?
Yes.
yes.
Yes. All right, thank you. No worries, take care of that. Consider awarding the request for proposal number 25-06. This is the, rec department. Hey, I didn't see where you come from. You just walked in? Okay. All right, what you got, young lady?
So the first one is a proposal for a concessionaire. We've talked about this. Every budget cycle it comes up. This year, we didn't have one or any submitted by the deadline, but this one did come up. This is a vendor that we have used this spring to come out to the facilities when we don't have enough staff to run concessions. So she is proposing to run 2 to 3 concession stands each night that we have games and activities. And then in turn, giving us 30% of her profits. So this would be, essentially, she would be using our facility, our concession areas, and using our equipment, but she is providing all of the supplies. She is manning it start to finish. So we have no cost for staffing. So on the budget side, it would decrease our staffing costs for our seasonal staff, as well as the inventory for resale line item that we have in our budget. So this would be decreasing those budgetary expenses, but then in turn still giving us revenue.
What is the name of the company?
It's Concession on the Move.
Concession on the Move. Are they a
It's
local
Sequoia
company?
Maddox.
Are they a local company?
Yes, she does. They do other things like Greene County, Parks and Rec, Jackson County, Athens. They're all over here. So.
You have a clear definition of understanding what the net profits is that you get that 30% of. Is that just?
Yes. So the net profit is her gross revenue minus her cost of supplies. It's on the proposal.
The way counties is going now, citizen hiring old contractors is probably going to be the only way to go in the future.
So, and with this proposal, she has never actually done like multiple concessions However, she does want to try that, so this proposal is doing 2 to 3 concession stands starting in the spring with the hope that she could do all of them by the fall, once she really gets her feet wet and kind of understands where we're at.
How long has she been in business? How long has she been registered with the state?
That I do not know.
The only reason I ask is if she's brand new to it.
Well, no, not to like concession. She has her own food truck and everything. So as far as an actual using concession, other people's supplies and everything like that, this is her first time. But as far as coming out with her food truck to events and activities, she's very familiar with that. She's been doing it for a few years.
Gentlemen, any questions? Seeing none,
The food truck that was over by the 2 hole.
Yes. She's got a variety of foods.
Yes, no. Food in general in the rec department is a good idea. I don't know where's a novel idea, I guess.
Would she be using y'all have fryers, too?
We do.
You do have fryers?
We do have fryers.
Just haven't been operating.
Yeah, so, just with the fries and staffing and everything, and that thing, we try to do those, but depending on what staff and who we have in there, kind of limits that, but.
Would that, does the health department inspect our concession stands?
They do not.
They do not?
And I asked Paul about that, because when doing the renovations at Dining Hill and everything, he said the county can inspect their own.
No, we can't.
No.
Health department.
And that just
her
came.
truck, though.
Oh, hers, yes. Oh, I thought he said our concession stand.
Well, they would inspect hers.
Yes. Oh, yeah, yes.
Or inspect.
Yes, hers is, yes. I thought you were referring to
No.
the county one.
It's
Okay,
a plan
the county
for her-
themselves.
it's a plan for her to do her work in our concession stands, but come to all of her trucks.
She would do it in hours. So she would bring in all the supplies and have it there.
She provided your equipment, your
Correct.
utilities.
Correct.
You're
So she
gonna
would
have to have
be-
an insurance liability.
And she does, yes.
Okay.
Is this something?
Seeing you.
We need to defer this until night, or somebody can draw up some kind of agreement. I mean,
So we.
I don't have a
this has
problem
been-
with the intent, but we need to have some type of agreement.
I think that's what we're asking for, is if you want to move forward with something like this.
Yeah, so when we put the RFP out, there is an agreement in there that, because we have previously used the same RFP.
Okay, so it's one that we.
It's one we've used before,
and I've
yes, sir.
seen before,
Yes,
okay.
sir. So the agreement was theirs, this is just her proposal, so this is just discussion of that.
Okay.
So everything as far as liability and all that is in the blank agreement that would be used for this.
Any other questions and or suggestions?
Should be no set fee that she would pay us for this privilege. It'd just be just a pure profit share.
Correct.
What is your intent at the other? Would just not have concessions at the other?
No, we would still, so she's looking at doing it at Sammy Haggard and Brewer Phillips. Then if we have activities at Diamond Hill, then we would still run those. At least in the spring.
I'm hesitant on that, only because there's no legal way to verify what that income is for the month. It's stated. Like, this is what I cleared after I paid everybody, or last month. It's still a stated document. You don't have I don't know.
Well, in
It's the way the beverage system is set up also for beer and wine. They just tell you how much they sold in your county.
Yes.
There's no way to.
In our
when they pay.
in our agreement, there is a stipulation that says that we can request financial documents from them that shows their records.
What does I haven't read the contract.
Mhm.
What does the out clause, what does it look like?
There needs to be some sort of performance.
In other words, if you're not happy with them, because we don't personally got a business that's in that situation, it's supposed to be making money and it's not, and it can't get out of the contract because it was signed for X time. I just want to make sure you're covered. I want to make sure the county's covered. If this person, for some reason, don't show up on game nights and you publicize it and we start catching a lot of heat about it, or the food decides to go south, we want to be able to dismiss that contract.
So the concessions are operating in the negative.
Yes. So the concessions, so the sheet that you have shows that, and this is just from the spring, that our concessions are financially in the negative, after paying staff.
I think Todd's talking
So-
about termination at will with 30-day notice or something like that.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
I like
so
to borrow from, but I don't remember what this one says, but I like termination for cause and inconvenience.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one, in the term of the contract, it says MCRD reserves the right to terminate this contract immediately for any of the following reasons: inaccurate reporting or failure to pay required fees to MCRD, opening the concessionaire for events later than specified in the contract, or closing the concessionaire earlier than listed in the contract, failure to properly serve at a scheduled or assigned event previously agreed upon by the concessionaire, or opening too late, again, or closing too early as determined by Parks and Recreation staff, detrimental behavior of the concessionaire employees or other factors that are deemed to negatively impact the safety and well-being of patrons, property or service of the MCRD, and failure to comply with any aspect of the agreement.
I'd feel much better if you look back over that and make that into that one-liner.
Well, it would usually a separate section. Is there not a separate section that talks about termination without cause? We can do it next week and I'll look at it between.
Yeah, it says, at the bottom, it says termination without cause. Without cause, either party may terminate this agreement after given 30 days written notice to the other of intent to terminate without cause. The parties shall deal with each other in good faith during the 30-day period after any notice of intent to terminate without cause.
Okay. Yeah. Now I feel much better. All right.
There's also termination with cause.
Yeah. I haven't seen it in a long, if I have seen it, it's been a long time. I apologize. I didn't mean to.
It is one that we've used in previous years, so it's the same format and everything. It's the exact same.
All right,
Just to track it again.
I always like to move forward.
I propose, or I recommend utilizing the concessionaire, as stated in our proposal, on a trial basis for the spring to see how things go.
So you're gonna do a contract for X months?
Yes.
Okay.
With the stipulations in there, if things go that we can report.
Gentlemen, y'all comfortable with that? You want to set a number on that? When is your spring season? When is it gonna end?
Spring season is from March to May, the end of May, depending on.
So you want to do?
So this is getting her set up for next.
Correct, it's for the 2026 budget year.
But in, I don't want to say historically, but recent history, we've had trouble either staffing internally, you know, kids just don't work at rec department anymore, or a variety of reasons, and then other concerns with, you know, weather, whatnot, or get stuff going and then we don't sell anything, or, you know, or we prepare for it and then we can't have a game. So this is I don't say stopgap, but it's just a different approach in trying to reduce some of the negative cash flow and
Better served.
get a better service.
Yes.
I'm comfortable moving forward with the opportunity. I'll defer to, if we need to wait a week or so and give council an opportunity to review any language that we need to clear.
Sounds like they're using the contract that I have seen in the past. I'm like Chairman, I don't remember the details, but the questions y'all are asking now are about how blanks get filled in, and I wouldn't know how to do that.
I mean, now that she's found those clauses, I feel a lot better about it, knowing that those are there.
I specifically remember that conversation, the way for us to get out. It doesn't work.
So, Commissioner Daughtry, is that a motion?
That's a motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Commissioner Daughtry, Commissioner Adams. Yes. Any other discussion? Hearing none, Commissioner Adams? Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good.
Thank you.
So the motion was to what?
Move forward with the contract.
We'll proceed.
I'll go ahead and approve the contract? Okay. Make sure there's nothing for me today.
Yeah, you were right about filling in the blanks, yeah, okay. All right, consider, awarding the request for quote, 2507, All-Star Package.
So, our recommendation is to go with Shuma Sports, for the All-Star packages.
Shelley, and to lump this together, 11, 12, 13, have these proposals or requests all been approved by your board of directors?
By the,
Right,
the advisory board,
Yes, ma'am.
no, sir. We have not asked them if on theirs. This is going, our recommendation is to go with the same vendor that we are currently using.
Well,
No, you said the board hasn't given you a recommendation.
No, I'm saying my recommendation.
Oh, I thought you said our recommendations.
Well, as a department, our recommendation is.
Yeah, well, that's why we have a rec board, is for those guys to make determinations so then it goes to the next step. Like you take it to them and say, here's the three I got, what do you think? They vote, they pick, and then you bring that recommendation back. If not, we don't need a rec board. We need to utilize that board, that's what you're saying.
well, where I guess I'm going with this is if you look at the numbers involved in this, if Shelley and her management team presented it to their board of directors and they approved it, the next three items on the list are all well within the spending limits of the chairman.
Yeah, it's a good point at that.
Yeah, I guess that's what I'm saying. If y'all kept it at your level and you approve it, then there's no need for Todd and Christina make sure the verbiage is right on everything. Todd signs off on it because they will issue a PO, and then the PO has to be processed through the office here anyway. So I think it would, and I'm not trying to duck our responsibility here, but it would streamline our meetings a little bit more rather than be discussing. I know there's one in here that's in the $70,000 range, but most of what we're talking about is 10, 14, 11,000, and even on the concessions, we're talking $22,000, $23,000 there. And I think it would expedite maybe a little bit of what you guys are doing if your board approved it and then you just presented to us that way.
Okay.
That may be out of line with Robert's rules and others.
No, I think you're exactly correct.
Let me ask one more question. When was the last time your board met, and would it have any negative impact on these next three items? If y'all met, you presented to them, they said yes or no, and you just handled it with the chairman's office and clerk's office?
So it just impacts the budget for 2026. So whatever budget what I have currently presented to you, it would.
When does your board meet
And
again?
our next meeting is not going to be until August.
So they won't meet before you guys set the budget.
but all of these numbers will be.
Now, I can email the board and try to get a response
The
from them.
consensus,
Mhm.
as long as you record that with that.
Rec board.
What's that now?
Just the board.
Like if I email.
No, they're
It's still-
they're subject to the meetings act.
Yeah, they're-
And they follow the same rules, you know, they got you.
Okay, we'll talk about this.
Every topic has to go before we do it. I mean, really, the purpose of the board is not to just dismantle the board and just bring everything here. That's really not the ultimate goal. To be more effective and utilize that mentality that's dealing with it every day would help us by not putting it on the plate over here. And that way, me and you can do this, and then been done.
Yep.
Some of this is just a change the standard operator, that's what you said, or what that department's been doing, so. I'm okay voting on these moving forward, and we know where we're going, but maybe encourage, future activities to utilize that board. Actually, prior to going out, in contracts, making sure it's appropriate, so at the end of the day, it's like, it's done.
So Shuma seems to get it every time, right? Pretty much. To get
So Shuma got the first time that we did RFQs, Shuma did get it that time. So our 3 years contract with them is up. So then they have.
I don't want to get back on another 3-year contract.
No, it can be however you set it.
It has expired.
It has expired. It will expire at the end of this year. So this is for moving forward.
Yeah, I don't want. Where's Shuma based out of?
Lawrenceville.
There's got to be more companies than just one company. You went for an RFQ, and these are the only ones that respond.
The way that your budget comes to us, the big one, recreation uniforms, uniform coaches apparel, those are basically going to be offset by your user fees.
Correct.
So just really the one question I have on those is, and this goes back to Dennis' rec board question, have we done a good job of addressing the concerns that our fees are high, and a lot of that is due to the uniforms? And so have we considered that in looking at these? And yes, I still think that the uniforms ought to be covered as user fees. But have we addressed that concern as our user fees went up to see how much better job we can do in making those user fees reasonable by being a little more modern on the uniforms? And I think the rec board probably answered that question. The one for the All-Stars, that's a budget item, because you pay that.
That's extra, yes.
Yeah, so that's the one that, that's really the $1 issue for us. Again, that's way under the spending limits. But that'd be the biggest question I have on the routine uniforms, that we're expecting that to be covered by user fees. Have we addressed the concerns that the user fees are so high because of the cost of the user fees? And I think that the board answers that for us.
Yes.
So I would like to have their input on that specific issue.
Just quickly on the Shuma, I know y'all are all a tight-knit group with the other counties. Who do they primarily use?
So they actually use someone different who I did email asking to get a quote from and did not receive anything. It's
They all, like Jackson, Franklin, Florida?
They all use somebody different. Go Sports, you have Garrettson, Mob, they're all different, and I emailed all of them, letting them know that we were having an RFQ, and I did not receive anything back from them.
I don't know. It just may be me. I don't understand that. Like, they'll respond to that county if they send them an email. Well, I'll respond to our county.
I don't know.
And then and I just don't understand how Schumer just keeps being Schumer. I don't like it. I just don't like it. Sorry. I don't know what it is. It comes to me wrong. I don't know what it is.
They may not be used to doing RFPs, which I think this would be a request for a proposal, not for qualifications. RFP was something else. But anyway,
Yeah.
request for quote.
Quote, yeah.
Is it a request for quote? Is that what it is? Oh, okay. Yeah, I was just thinking they may not be used to getting something quite as formal as a big package. Might just on things below. Typically you don't see that below $100,000.
Well, usually, years ago, when we were involved in that, it was salesmen came by and presented his wares.
Yeah, and it's important to, it's important to have things in writing, and it's important to review the writing before you sign it, but, it's not quite the same sort of thing that you and Derek do. It's not at that level of project cost.
But possibly going forward, and again, maybe just a different way of doing it or thinking about it is as we move forward next year, next time, next particular event or supplies or equipment is just having notifying them that on a certain Saturday, we're going to sit down and talk about our needs and give them an opportunity to come and you say, this is what we've been buying, this is what we want to go for, when you get this is what we're asking. And maybe it's an introduction for them to get on board with our process.
In regards to presenting your budget to this board, I believe what you could do is take the proposals that you have here, use them as a worst case scenario, plug that in as the number that you use in your budget as it's given to us. Go ahead and set up a meeting that meets the legal requirements for an open meeting for your board of directors, present it to them, have them approve it yes or no, and then bring it back to us. But you can still use these numbers in preparing your budget.
Yes.
I wouldn't have a problem with that, but I do believe that your group should approve something like that, and then let the chairman's office and the clerk's office handle it after that.
Yeah, I agree. I think it needs to go to your board first, let them review it. Because the uniform cost, like Commissioner Chandler was talking about, that being the main cause of the increase in fees, and you think about these kids only going to wear these shirts 10 times. Mm-hmm. It's just it seems so expensive for jerseys. Like baseball, they just get jerseys. They don't get pants, they don't get socks and all that stuff. But they still have to go buy that stuff additionally. And that was one of the complaints that we've heard. I'm sure everybody else has heard those same complaints. So I would say to take it to your board first. We can use, like Commissioner Adams just said, use last year's numbers for your budget request for this year, and then if it can be amended.
Yeah, so the numbers on here are what we provide currently, and then also if we did a full uniform as well.
Yeah.
So.
It's high.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to table this until their board reviews it or how you want.
So for all of them?
I think so. To be fair, I'll be honest, if you want to skip the RFQ altogether and just call a half a dozen more companies, we've already got it laid out what you're asking for, and let them reprice it. I'm sitting here looking at the next sheet, which is not the next item here. We're doubling between the cheapest and the most expensive, but yet we're recommending the most expensive. That's actually going against everything we're trying to do to get the cost down for the kids. So
yeah, you just have
I
to
just
look
think we
at
got to put a little more.
apples to apples and apples.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I get it. Because those actually did have belts and stuff like that in it. But I don't know. I want to see some more numbers, if you don't mind, and I'd like for those numbers to go back to the rec board and let them get it in it. And I mean, I'm talking about companies that we ain't never heard of. Because it seems like we're in a repetitive pattern of going back to the same well for the same numbers. And we just saw that earlier tonight with a company that bid on a project that was literally half, even though we never heard of them before. Same work, same water line, same 12 inch, same amount of footage, and there's exactly half the price. So it pays to do that due diligence. And we also saw it on another topic recently. Just don't keep going back to the same vendors. The paving contracts this year. Guys that got it did not get it last year. They were way cheaper.
So how does that work with, because it was the RF, like it was out there for you guys to have a request?
That's just a request for quote. So did you just request a quote?
Yeah, I mean, as I read, that's what I was just looking at, the first policy just says in this range of 10,000 to 250,000, it's just two written price quotes. It doesn't, I mean, you can get those by calling 2 vendors or 5 vendors, or you can do it by posting, but, you know, I mean, this is not my area of expertise. I just see people do it with my clients. Just put an ad in the paper and on the website, you don't get a lot of response. You have to make phone calls.
I've in the past, when things have fell in certain categories, had the opportunity to, if you know several companies, you can call them with their email address, and you know, you can send one email with 10 names on it. And say, hey.
That's what I did.
Yeah.
I mean, and I've talked to, like, you know, Garrettson's, I've talked to the rep for him, or for Garrettson's, they actually play in our programs. So I've reached out to him. He's been on, you know, a lot of them have been asking, you know, hey, when can we apply, do our quotes and everything? And I'm like, well, our contract ends at the end of the year, we'll let you know. And so I did, I notified everybody, and that's just kind of how it felt. It's kind of surprising,
yeah.
But
that's a little piece that's kind of missing a little bit is you know, basically no response column. You know, there could be 50 of them. I mean,
yeah, list out the names that you call with no response. No answer, NA.
so what I'm hearing is to table this, if me reach out to see if I can get quotes from the other 4 vendors that didn't respond. Or others.
5 different ones. GRPA is, I mean, I met those guys down in Savannah. I mean, that's a large organization. There's got to be somebody in that organization besides these same 2 or 3. Just think so.
do we request these 3 that you provided an opportunity to make adjustment, since it's public knowledge?
Yeah, I think what you're doing is, so you requested, well, it's not a sealed bid process, it's a request for quotes.
Request for quotes.
Yeah.
You can reject any or all.
Yeah.
So these are the quotes. Yeah, I guess that's what I was kind of leading up to. If you want to, you're thinking maybe take a vote to reject all and start the process over again.
If it's cleaner at the end of the day, I just don't want somebody accusing us of trying to.
Right, yeah,
Good
that's what
job.
I'm just trying to figure out what exactly.
Yeah, because obviously they would be entitled to present another quote. So maybe it's cleaner to do it that way.
All right, let's do that.
Okay.
Did your rec board have input into what these package requests look like?
It's just the same as what we have done before.
Again, with the concern we had about feed costs, I would make a different step first. I'd go back to the board first. Then you could probably do this email or whatever and say, what do y'all think we ought to request on uniforms? And then that reflect that when you request to the.
Okay, good. I did a full uniform in the request, which is what the community's been asking for. So it was, this is what we provide, and these would be other additional items we could add to it. But I can do that. I can send them what we have.
I'd be very zealous about using the board's feelers to get that information, because that has been a concern. It's been expressed to us. The cost of the fee and a large portion of that reflected as the uniform cost.
There's a lot of variables in this also. So in here, there's baseball hats, right? Well, there's a big difference between a Richardson 112 that's going to cost you $39, and then a T-ball hat for a 6-year-old. So, I mean, there's a lot of variables that really, when you're asking for a request for a quote, you got specifics to say, I want this, and I need to be at this dollar range. They're gonna come back and say, well, I got that, but it's a lower quality, or I got that and it's a higher quality. But so specific on shirts, because you are specific, and I'm not picking you, this is just advice, because you did ask for like the reversible jerseys. Okay, that's a great idea. But you can go down a rabbit hole with everything else, with belts and jackets or hats or whatever, that I think maybe we fell short on somewhere, or maybe we didn't. I don't know. It's not me to criticize. I just want to be careful what we ask for, because that's the whole intent. Is please the public, which is hard. Spend less money, which is even harder to please the public. But we got to do our best. We got to show that somehow. Thank you. All right. Do you want to make that motion, Commissioner Dawson?
Yeah, I would make the motion that we were for item 11, 12, and 13, that we reject all quotes received and request staff to reissue the request.
Motion by Commissioner Doster. Do I have a second? Second by Commissioner Adams. Any other discussion, gentlemen? Hearing none?
Yes.
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 Thank you. We'll take it right back up. How is the rec board doing, like attendance wise? Is there something we need to look at? Are y'all full? Y'all good?
We're full. Email response, from one is very, very limited, and them showing up is also very limited.
Well, we don't have a problem changing that out.
So,
Who that is?
Privately.
right, yeah.
Privately.
So,
I mean, we want you to make sure you got a good board.
for the most part, those that, when emails go out about reminders of meetings and when things are, their response is pretty good. Usually 4 out of 6 at least will respond. Attendance-wise, sometimes there's only 3, which means we can't really have a meeting because we can't vote on anything, we can't do anything like that, because there's not a quorum, but
You have a free board, right?
yes,
Your board does not get paid.
our board does not get paid. So,
It may not be this year, but it's coming to the point that we're gonna have to put some kind of stipend on it, because that's gonna get you a little bit better volunteers, we hope. I hope they're not doing it for the money, but I hope if they do,
Right.
at least they do feel compensated or entitled to.
mhm.
All right, well, thank you.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Thank y'all.
See you in the morning. What,
Okay.
8:30, 9?
8:30.
Gotcha. Thanks for the reminder. I thought it was 9. Discuss an agreement for business retention and support services with the Chamber of Commerce. She just put y'all in because she wanted y'all to enjoy all the other stuff.
Good evening, everybody. Thanks for having us back. Always appreciate what y'all do and the relationship that we've had with the chamber. I brought some chamber folks with us tonight. We have our newly minted president and CEO, Joe Farm, is with us. Our vice president of incredible awesomeness and effectiveness, Corey Lynn Thurston, is here, and she really is all that and a bag of chips, I'll tell you. Our past chairman, Nathan Coker, and fellow board member David Echols are all here with us. And we thank you for the chance to come back. Of course, I'm the treasurer, have been for several years on the chamber, and it's been our pleasure to serve, like the rec board, as we're not compensated, but that's not here or there. The last time we were before you, we were talking about how to change the arrangement between the county and the chamber. We've enjoyed and appreciated the good collaboration over the last few years, and are looking forward to continuing that under a new arrangement that I believe was legally necessary, or at least we believe that it was. So we've done several things since then to start that process. One of the chief things that was that we needed to do was separate the employment between the county and the chamber. That's all been completed, so we have no overlap with county employees and chamber employees. We are all our own, on our own payroll system, completely separate. We're setting up our own retirement and such, and that's effective May 31st. Was our last county payroll that was done. Since all of our other support that we were receiving from the IDBA and the chamber was payroll-based, that also means that the support has ended. And so unlike the sweet Sherry Deakins from Mark, who wasn't here with her hand out, we're here with our hand out. So I'll just we'll get to the punchline first. I'm sure y'all have a few things to do, but I did send ahead of time, and I think is in your packet several things. One is a draft of a service agreement that has been worked on some. Y'all been back and forth on this some, I think. I don't know exactly what all processes it's been gone through. Then a package that we put together that describes our activities and our budget, and as well as the Chamber's annual report that talks about the things that we've done. On the agreement, the draft agreement, it's kind of short and sweet in essence. We mentioned that the legal authority that we believe the county has to provide for activities that are purposed for developing trade, developing commerce, developing industry, and for employment opportunities. And we've listed here a scope of 5 different subject areas in which chamber activities provide and support those areas of service. In the materials that I presented, that look like this, except for the scribbles at the bottom, those are my notes. By those same 5 service areas, it's a list of the projects that we did in 2024 that support each of those service areas. My hope in presenting that to you is to try to illustrate with that and the annual report that the chamber is active and pursuing goals that are your goals for economic development and business development, I'll say, and they're our goals. So we have a lot of overlap in our aims, and we think it's a great relationship to have. In the budget that I've provided, that we've been as transparent as I think that we can, we show you that we need your support. 2024, we're still a tough year where we showed a significant excess of expenses over revenue, and we're working actively and believe we have those things under control. Y'all are well aware of our rebirth over the last several years. We went from 67 members up to a total of 375 members at the end of 2024. That was an increase of almost 90 members just in 2024 alone. You know, that pace of growth, of course, cannot continue because we believe we're getting more and more penetrated into the market businesses. So there's not a way that we can grow from 375 members to 700 members by next Tuesday. So we think that pace of growth must slow, and we look to other ways to provide our services effectively. On the budget report that's turned sideways, there are a couple of things I wanted to point out to you. In the 2024 actual column, near the top in the income section, I've specified exactly what our records show that we received in the calendar year from the Board of Commissioners and also from the IDBA. So for 2024, we received about $43,000 from those 2 sources that were in the form of payroll support or payroll reimbursement, payroll sharing costs, whatever the appropriate way is to say that. Then, of course, that has now gone away, and in the 2025 budget category, I've listed those actual amounts that we've received, and then I've put in numbers below that that's sort of our ask, and I'm not sure what the mind of the commissioners are at this time, or what you will be voting on today, but that's sort of our ask from the county for 2025. You'll notice underneath that, the IDBA has a very small additional ask. Their service agreement that we're working on with them is different from yours. This service agreement, we talked about the areas of support. Of course, we share those same goals with the IDBA, but the agreement that we're working on is a rent agreement for them to share space inside our building, and so share space, share common areas, kitchen, restrooms, boardroom, and that sort of thing. They don't have somebody to fill that space yet, or they haven't moved in, so that agreement has not started. My sense is that we're close to agreement on that, and it's moving forward. So that's I put a number in there that would be 3 months worth of those rents should it come to fruition. Now, looking forward to our forecast, we talked about the last time we were here, wanting the chamber to stand more on its own, and that is still our mindset. That's indicative of a healthy chamber. But as we talked then, my imagination was that we were going to be separate completely and not look for any support. As I was pulling this presentation together, it really struck me how aligned our goals are, and so it's probably my desire that we keep the Board of Commissioners involved from a support standpoint, whatever that might look like. So I haven't tapered us down to zero on my projected list for that reason. I think we're connected at the hip, so to speak, and we want to continue a very positive working relationship. So I did try to give you more details than you wanted, hoping that you wouldn't ask me many questions about them. But I'm happy to answer any questions that you have about budget numbers. That's sort of my foray. Jill and Corey Lynn can talk about operations and programs and things. So thanks for your time.
Good job, young man, good job.
I just had one question on your conversations with IDBA, and conversations I've had with Ben. Do these numbers reflect also some support staff? I'm thinking our IDBA is not going to need full-time clerical help or receptionist kind of. We don't expect a whole lot of walk-in traffic. Has that been part of the conversation? There's just physical rent, or does that also include support?
I'm going to turn around for correction in a second. I think it does not include shared support. We're specifically talking about them having their own phone system, so they'd have their own calling. Is that I'm getting some amens from the crowd back there, so I think I'm so far I'm good.
Is that something that's open for discussion?
Absolutely.
It's not reflected in these numbers. Okay. Been talking with IDBA board, they are comfortable with the rent proposal that you have for them.
That's our indication, yes. We've had a couple of IDBA members come and tour the facility. They were favorably impressed. We shouldn't ever pass up the opportunity to thank the Strickland family for their sort of puzzling and wonderful donation to the Chamber Foundation. It's a beautiful home, beautiful house. A real showpiece for the county.
Any other questions, gentlemen?
Mr. Attorney, does the service agreement give you any heartburn?
Well, again, the issue, I've sent the board some advice on this. I mean, I understand the practice, legally, neither the county's charter, the Board of Commissioners charter, does not mention promotion of commercial economic development as one of its powers. That is a power of the industrial authority. And And that same thing's reflected in the statutory scheme for statutory industrial authorities, that counties are empowered to fund economic development through their industrial authority, not directly. I imagine many county charters do have that power in their charter. You know, Madison County has not been updated since 1965. And it may be that many counties don't have it in their charter and just do it directly anyway. But the legally justifiable way I could defend this is for the industrial authority to make this contract with the chamber and then the board of commissioners to fund that through funds to the industrial authority. I can't make the links legally to do it directly like this, even though I understand logically maybe it's a difference with a distinction without a difference.
How can we get the money to the IDBA? Where's that lake connected, besides their mill?
Well, you can levy it on track mill.
Yeah.
You can do it at a 2 mill form, but it's also a power in the statutory authorities. It's that code section that's cited here in the middle of the first page, 48-5-220, number 20.
I remember, now you sent it to me.
I appreciate that, and I'm certainly out of my legal field here, but I'll tell you that I went to the source of all great legal and accounting knowledge, which is artificial intelligence, in preparation for our meeting today. And I said, you know, what are the counties in Georgia that support directly chambers? And it said it's not everybody, but here's a list, and it gave me 8 or 10 that I could send you, which is kind of what you said, that some of them do it, and we don't know how that's done.
Yeah.
And I also asked it, and this could be a conversation for the future, how many chambers are allocated a share of a hotel motel tax? And again, it was a list of 8 or 10 or 12 that received some support from that. And
I know I have yet to. I've had people tell me read to me on the phone what ChatGPT told them. And I've read the statutes to them, and they said, "Oh, I like ChatGPT."
And please know that I'll offer that with a smirk on my face and understanding the level and depth of that research that I didn't do. So please
The key
understand.
part that Mike mentioned was our charter being written in 1965 didn't probably have the vision of 2025 at the time. So that charter not being updated for some 60 years, probably those 8 or 10 you did find may have updated their charters.
Yeah.
I mean, it might be
a lot more than that. I mean, that's a very old charter.
Yeah.
So the people that I introduced from the chamber that I said were here because their dedication to the chamber, they were also here to provide adult supervision for me. And they probably have knives out, and I asked the attorney that question y'all always seem really receptive until
I even waited a while for you to withdraw the question.
My notion is it's out there. Let's talk about it. So my understanding was from back then that drawing up this agreement for support services was kind of at your suggestion back then. Now that's been 4 or 5 months ago.
Yeah, that's right. I went back and looked at all that, and we talked about the statute and the language that you've got here. Maybe we somehow lost in communication the part about it being through the industrial authority.
So it sounds like, assuming we like these numbers, we might sort of move forward with consenting this budget, if you want to put it that way, but with the knowledge that we probably want to structure it as an agreement with us through the IDBA and them have an agreement.
That's the one I can make legal links for, understanding that there are probably many counties who don't worry about that link.
So, if I'm hearing you clear, we need to, and I'm gonna agree with it, and I agree with Mike both, and for one, this top copy right here is awesome. I mean, that right there, just to accomplish me accolades and everything, I mean, that's just good. That's good stuff when you live in a county like this.
That's what we've asked for, I know, 3 years.
Yeah.
A detailed budget.
But I do agree that I think we need to have a sit-down conversation with the folks at the IDBA and say, look, you know, if we're all in agreement, this is how it has to flow. So there's really not an agreement with us, but that don't mean you're not gonna get a funding mechanism. We just gotta get it to a different channel.
Another option might be an amendment to the charter that would add that to the county, and I don't know off the top of my head if we could do that as a home rule amendment, or if we'd have to wait for the legislative session to do it. It might be something we could do as a home rule amendment, which can be done in a couple of months or less.
I can call ACG and ask.
Well, I mean, I just don't have this code section in front of me on home rule, or it's constitutional.
Yeah.
I guess my comment, Rodney, is I fully support what the chamber does. I'm a personal member. We want to figure out how to properly and appropriately support, and as your numbers indicate, you know, whether it's, you know, that notion of I was in full support when we started kind of rebuilding, if you would, and getting y'all to a step-down approach. And I think your numbers show that, and so I still have a commitment to that. I just think we need to do a little research and a little bit of brain scratching how to connect the dots appropriately, and we all don't have to go visit Michael in the other facility.
You know, Dave, you made a good point right there, Commissioner Dolster. I think somewhere a year or so ago, I think that statement you just made about just trying to figure out, it was never really about reductions of funds or anything else. It was just trying to find the legal terminology to make it work. But somewhere it got sideways, or at least it came off that way. Maybe I came off that way, I don't know. But that's truly, Derek's statement's 100% correct. It's more trying to find the proper ways, legal terms, to get it done.
Do we need to do anything supplementary budget-wise as we work towards this? So we're dealing with a portion of the 2025 budget at this point. Does where we are continue? We agree to continue through May 31. Obviously, that's passed. So how do we need to make this flow somewhat seamlessly? Obviously, it sounds like we pretty much, we like the budgetary figures here. So if we can get Ms. Pruitt to get in touch with IDBA's attorney and maybe figure out which of those mechanisms is the best way for us to go.
Sure.
And but in the interim, if we're talking about 60 days.
I mean, again, that doesn't give me any heartburn. You're actually, I mean, that, as I recall, the existing contract, part of the issue with it was you weren't getting those deliverables from the chamber, these kinds of reports that Mr. Chandler has brought you here today. So there's more justification for continuing it a little longer than we've had in the past, I think.
So would you feel comfortable with us extending our current agreement, or our agreement that went through May 31, extending it for another, so through August 31?
I don't have a problem with that.
And at that point, we should have a...
Yes,
At that point, the IDA should present us with their budget, and what
the reflection
they're asking for here is
Just
something
show
slightly less than 2% of 1 million. Is, I mean, that, and somewhere between us and IDA, we should be able to find that, because this year, the IDA is going to be challenged with presenting us some kind of budget that we haven't seen in the past, and what they're going to be using their funding for. Right. I mean, with the movement of the water department and changes that have been made there, and changes in our direction, both as a county, the IDA, and with the chamber working together, we have 3 partners that we need to find. We need to constructively find a way that Mike feels good about going in the courtroom and saying, this is what we're doing.
Yeah, and doing it through the IDA is very defensible, either through this statute and or just through your up to $2 million you can levy for the IDA. I mean, that was if you look at the charter structure of the two entities, that was the anticipation of how this would work. And then certainly they could, IDA charter could contract with the chamber. But,
That's where I was going with the meal.
yeah, that's the cleanest of all.
That's the cleanest of all.
So, what, I'll put in a motion that we extend the previous agreement we had with the chamber through August 31. And at that time, we would expect to have in place, or ready to have in place, the agreement that would get us where we need to be with this.
You want to stand where she can write that down? Christina, you got that, huh?
Yes, I got it.
All right.
I'll make it sound good.
All right, make it please. In the morning, she's gonna be backing it up, she's gonna be listening on the computer, what did you say right there?
What I heard was whatever Rodney wanted.
Yeah. All right.
It's like Christmas, right?
I have a motion by Commissioner Chandler, do I have a second? Second by Commissioner Adams. Any discussion, gentlemen? Commissioner May?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
All right, Ms. Fortson, obviously welcome, even though you're not new to anybody. Ms. Parham, sorry.
I still answered
I know it's been several years, yes, I should know this by now. But you know what, this front cover that I was so proud of a minute ago getting it, this is actually probably a directional guide for the Board of Commissioners right here. As these things come along quarterly, come in and say, hey, we just done this one, and look down here, we done this one, this is how it went. That's all we want to hear. We want to know how good you are doing. I mean, we want that newspaper guy to put an article in there about how good you're doing.
Thank y'all very, very much.
David, you're welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Rogers.
Even though I'm not up there, I heard the word heartburn just enough times. I think I'm gonna step out. So, appreciate the job y'all do.
Real quick, just one follow-up question, if this is not the place to ask it, just tell me and we'll move on. Will we, historically, the way those funds flow through the chamber, is nothing was given from county to chamber, it was all, the payroll was paid by the county, and then we paid our portion to the county.
It's gonna reverse.
It'll reverse now, okay, so we'll invoice the county. We just want to make sure we were, like, how is it gonna be handled?
We don't process the payroll anymore.
So I'll prepare.
Yeah, it's just a reversal. Now we're gonna get an invoice. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you.
Good point.
Do I need to change the motion then?
Yeah, I was debating that as you made it, and we went forward quickly, and it's okay. I think what we're talking about is continuing,
The same level of support.
the same level of financial payments.
Yeah, within the extension. That's it. All right, gentlemen, we're gonna move on.
Thank you.
Good job, everyone. Road updates.
Everybody but Rodney can leave. He's got to
Got a lot of roads to talk about.
Appreciate y'all.
Be hosting the Oscars or anything next time.
Thank y'all for your time, for sure. Oh, what you call
I wanna know if Rodney's hosting the Oscars next time.
He is, he's in particular excited about the fashion portion.
All right, gentlemen, road updates, Commissioner Adams.
We've got some potholes on the Sanford Road, and I'm sure that part of it's traffic from 441 in Commerce that's cutting through with the closure of
Oh, yeah.
129. But they need some attention, and, again, that, Pleasant Acres Farm Road, where it's settling at the culvert that we installed there.
Yeah.
It is getting worse.
Gotcha. All right.
A few potholes on Briar Tree Road, I have not gotten any other calls, but just to compliment the chairman earlier, really had good quality work on the paving that is going to go to what they're doing now.
Commissioner May.
At 318 Virginia Lane, there's a growing pothole right in the middle.
I noticed that actually the patchway was out on Saturday. Caught me by surprise. They rolled it.
Somebody might have had,
I think somebody was swapping the day or something.
somebody swapped the day, probably.
Yes, very good.
Make up the time. Yeah, if they're willing to work, I'm willing to let them. Commissioner Dodd.
Just if there's any follow-up, and it doesn't have to be tonight, but, my inquiry about that corner of Timber Ridge Lane and Thompson Cemetery Road. To the email, and you responded like middle of last month or middle of the month.
Timber Ridge, yes, Timber Ridge Lane.
We actually spoke to the lady that lives on that Thompson Cemetery Road. She come in and we spoke to her about how it's a private drive and not county maintained. And I think that situation's been handled. She was very, very happy with what we told her.
One is a private, but the other, the part that she was concerned about was inside the right of way, so we told her to take care of it.
Has it been taken care of?
I don't know if that guy said it went out, because it's where that culvert where it meets the road, there's that ditch is washing out.
Yeah. I'll double check it more.
I'd just like to be able to respond to her. I mean,
Yeah.
even if we'll be out there in the next 30 days or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
But other than that, I don't have any calls.
So for the record, the mowing crews will be above Isla, the Nice Commerce area. The second crew is nearing Pioli area now, so please be careful with those guys out there. Watch out for them. We've been plagued with ditching and busting the beaver dams to the point we had to really engineer something to bust one with at the end of last week, because the culvert was actually a 60-inch culvert that they built in the middle of. So it took a bunch of I-beams welded together into T-sections and get a chain to come through it, hook it, and drag it out.
That was very funny.
Yeah. I told Alan that it's going to have to come out like that, but either way.
Where was that?
Off of, I want to say Arnold Bottoms, but I'm dead wrong. Idaho Rogers. Idaho Rogers. You say Coley Davis a minute ago?
Yeah, that's where he was, yeah. That's where I met him. They have been working Cody Davis Road.
Okay.
That's yours. Yes. We talked about it.
Let's see. Oh, I wanted to give you guys a USDA, well, I did. I'm sorry. I think I sent y'all an email that we have finally reached the completion stage with the Mike Collins money. Now we are in the bidding process, so the bid packet's been put together. Once we have it, everybody will be notified, but USDA turnover in management expedited the project. We've got more done in the past 3 months with the new guy than we did the year and a half prior to. But either way, thank you to those guys. Thank you to Mike for, we're going to get this ball rolling on the water line headed to Old Highway 72 feed mill project. But we have submitted another grant. We should hear back here in just a few days on it about actually they lowered it to $2 million for the treatment pond upgrade, water discharge lines, pond upgrade. But anyway, it's submitted. We'll hear back. There's a lot of people right now is in question about the rec department splash pad hours being cut back, to Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Reason for that is Danielsville's got a shortage of water. They're buying water from us. Right now, we've got water issues, shortages, and I don't want anybody to think that either one, the city or the county, is out of water, because we're not. But it is that time of year when the state asks you to reduce excess water, and we felt, based on our well situation and the temperatures outside, not knowing what July and August is going to hold for rainfalls, we need to roll it back some. I don't know the number, but I was told 400,000 gallons like in a week. It was just astronomical amounts, but I know it's hot. I know there's a lot of kids playing. That number may not be right, so I'd have to contact them.
That's not a lot of water.
Gallons per minute.
A toilet leak can use up about 20,000 gallons a month.
This was 400 a week.
That's what I'm saying.
But anyway, there's nothing wrong, and the public's been really good about it. They enjoy it, and we're glad that it's there. But certain times we have to limit it, so that's what's happened. I don't have anything else, gentlemen. Statements or remarks from citizens on tonight's agenda. Well, never mind, just statements or remarks from citizens in general.
Do you want to go over, where we're at in the paving process?
Oh, yes, over here, I'm sorry, one more thing, just give me 1 second. So, that's part of my project list, is on a different piece of paper. Current, paving projects update, roads completed with patching and OGI's Hudson River Church Road, Jotham Down Road, Drake Woods Road, and Stone Stewart. Roads completed with patching and topping only, Bethel Martin and Collins Bridges. Roads in progress with patching and OGI's Diamond Hill Culvert Road, Johnson Bridging Road, and Hardeman Morris Road. Roads still to be completed is Russell Road, Amberley Drive, Bellhaven Lane, and Creekwood Drive. LRA road projects, Madison Street, Crawford W. Long is completed. T-Splosh projects with asphalt paving solutions will begin the 3rd week of July. Roads to be completed with Micro, Hudson River Church Road, Jotham Down Road, Drake Woods Road, Stone Stewart Road, Racetrack Road, Johnson Bridges Road, Hardeman Marsh Road, and Diamond Hill Culvert Road. Thank you. Completely forgot this was signed. Come ahead, buddy.
All right, Bill Braun, Drake Road, and I was quite pleased whenever they patched the potholes on Drake Woods Road, and especially when they did the base underneath to last. I was quite pleased. I really chuckled whenever they put the big yellow sign up that says rough road ahead, but I that sort of capped things off. And then to my surprise, whenever they paved it. So I want to thank you guys, that was great. So thank you very much. It looks great. Better, 20 years that I've been out there and owned the property, it's the best it's ever looked. So thank you.
Sir. We're trying. Anyone else? Statements, remarks from commissioners. Urgent matters?
Happy 4th of July.
That's right. Any urgent matters?
No, sir.
Executive session discuss real estate acquisition, personal matters, potential litigation.
No, sir.
Commissioner Doss.
Move to adjourn.
There you go. Well, yeah, I mean, within the realm of being able to. Well, you don't like to answer.
So, I actually have talked to Ed, and he said, I told him today, you could call, when you want to call him.
No, I like him, I'm friends with him, man.
What to do, what they're doing, but he's gonna talk to Jack and kind of get the history with Jack and how they have been.
Yeah, well, I suspect what they may run into is.
That's really the problem.
So they have their own secret board. Eddie and his folks may not want to have to go over there.
Yeah.
Oh, man, I don't even know.
That's what it was. If we do that with Paulson, and then we reinstate all. That's what I'm working with.
Good point, and they pass, right, that's what you do it.
That's my boss.
No, I'll double check.
Yeah, and I probably would ask how it, I'm sure there's some way the Eddie's supposed to give you.
Okay.
You don't know what.
I don't know how to.
Yeah.
It just is, it's a long.
Yeah.
Okay.